From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, some 38 minutes.
Over 50 years after the tragic event, a long-lost piece of film may finally reveal the elusive JFK shooter. What if an ordinary man's home movie captured more than just the motorcade? This footage, now central to a legal battle, could rewrite parts of one of America's most debated assassinations. New technology promises to unlock secrets hidden in the grainy 8mm reel. Could this recovered footage hold the key to questions that have haunted the nation for generations? The forgotten film's unseen potential. Among the countless pieces of footage surrounding the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, one reel has lived in the shadows for decades: the Orville Nicks film. Unlike the widely known Zapruder film, Nicks' 8mm home movie captures Dealey Plaza from a different angle, one that includes the now infamous grassy knoll. This unique perspective has made his footage the subject of persistent intrigue and speculation, as it shows an area central to many conspiracy theories about a second shooter. Despite its historical significance, the film itself remains visually challenging and has been largely ignored compared to others, keeping its secrets just out of reach. What sets Nicks' footage apart is its unbroken view of the plaza's south side during the crucial moments of the shooting. While many films focus tightly on the motorcade or reaction shots, Nicks keeps the grassy knoll firmly in frame, silently raising questions about what or who might be caught within the shadows. Researchers and enthusiasts alike have pored over this grainy film, searching for clues that could confirm or deny the presence of someone in that contentious spot. Yet, the film's dark tone and technical limitations have made it difficult to clearly interpret the details, fueling both fascination and frustration. Adding to the mystery is the fact that the original film reel itself has mysteriously disappeared. Only copies of varying quality survive, sparking legal battles and debates over what the original might reveal if it were found. The missing footage could potentially hold frames erased or corrupted in later duplicates, making it a key piece of evidence in the ongoing puzzle. This disappearance deepens the story beyond simple historical curiosity, transforming it into a question of control and transparency over archival material that holds cultural and political weight. While some dismiss the Nicks film as just another amateur recording, its place in the investigation is anything but incidental. It captures not only a sequence of events, but also reactions from bystanders and details of the environment that other films miss. Moments as ordinary as a woman rushing away or a Secret Service agent reacting take on new meaning when measured against the backdrop of an unsolved crime. The film becomes a rare witness to both the assassination and its immediate chaotic aftermath, making it a treasure of raw historical footage. Despite its relative obscurity, the Nicks film has quietly influenced many within the forensic and research communities. Because it views the scene from a different angle, it has repeatedly drawn attention from those questioning the official narrative of the assassination. This home movie, shot by a man on a sidewalk rather than a professional cameraman on a rooftop, became a magnet for hypothesis and examination precisely because it refuses to fit neatly into the familiar puzzle. Many questions linger about what this film actually shows, and why no definitive conclusions have emerged despite decades of scrutiny. Was there something in the shadows all along? Did the footage hide evidence suppressed or overlooked by investigators? These uncertainties keep the Orville Nicks film at the center of ongoing debate, as new technologies and legal actions promise the chance to bring more clarity. The story of this forgotten film reminds us that history is often shaped not only by what is recorded, but also by what disappears or remains out of reach. Piece by piece, the fragments of that day continue to surface, challenging our understanding and inviting us to look closer. Nicks's footage may be grainy and incomplete, but in its faded frames lies the possibility of answers that have long been elusive. As we begin to understand the man behind the camera, it becomes clear that this was no casual observer. but someone who inadvertently changed the course of how we view the assassination itself. His perspective opens a window into the past, one that could rewrite the story if only the original film's full truth is ever uncovered. The mystery of the Nicks film is not settled, and its unsettled nature makes it all the more compelling. The pieces of the puzzle are still waiting to be fit together, and the next chapters in its story may well provide the breakthrough that decades of inquiry have yet to produce. Who was Orville Nicks? Orville Nicks was not a seasoned journalist or a professional cameraman, expecting to capture history in the making. Instead, he was an engineer from Dallas, armed with a Keystone Auto Zoom model K81. A modest 8mm home movie camera, popular among families and hobbyists of the era. On November 22, 1963, Nicks took his camera out with the intent of preserving a personal moment, filming the president's motorcade as it passed through Dealey Plaza. What he ultimately recorded became something far weightier than a mere keepsake. Nicks positioned himself near the corner of Main Street and Houston Street, a spot that placed him close enough to witness the motorcade's approach, but far enough to provide a sweeping view of the surroundings. His film captures the motorcade turning onto Elm Street, all while keeping the grassy knoll in the background. This positioning was crucial. Unlike other films focused tightly on the limousine or the crowds, Nicks's perspective allowed the environment itself, an often overlooked character in the story, to remain in clear view. His filmed work achieved important value because Nicks understood its worth, although he did not pursue fame or public recognition. Nicks described his experience at Dealey Plaza when he filmed the events from the time before the shooting until the shooting ended and afterward. He presented himself as an eyewitness who recorded everything that occurred at his location through simple and direct language. The genuine nature of his footage establishes its value because it proves he filmed actual events instead of creating a fake documentary. Nicks did not possess professional quality equipment for shooting film or producing lighting effects. He selected Type A film stock, which people use for indoor environments, because the film lacked the outdoor light correction needed to film bright daylight conditions. He used this decision, which made his footage look darker, to create more difficulties in analyzing his material compared to other films from that day. The backlight creates a grainy appearance, which has resulted in multiple interpretations of the background view that has existed near the grassy knoll for more than 20 years. The visual problems in the film create a situation where people disagree about its content. Researchers investigating the presence of a second shooter use every missing frame and every modified detail as evidence to support their claims. Nicks's reflections about the film's state show that certain segments of the footage became unusable because of processing errors, which created additional uncertainty. The film contains such flaws that it now serves as an object of forensic examination, which extends beyond the actual events that took place. Nicks's film provides the only uninterrupted visual documentation that shows the events that happened during the actual incident and its immediate recovery period. The film presents a unique storyline that nobody else can tell because it shows how people responded to a moment that stopped time in a tragic way. The common quality of his camera, together with his video footage, makes his recording extraordinary because it was transformed into an important research element instead of staying as a personal memory. Out of this emerges a view saturated with unanswered questions and intriguing possibilities, setting the stage for the next mystery in the saga: the significance of Nicks's angle on the grassy knoll. The grassy knoll mystery. In the vast archive of JFK assassination footage, one constant source of controversy is the grassy knoll, an area just beyond the motorcade's path that has generated endless debate and conspiracy theories. What makes Orville Nicks's film stand out is its unbroken view of this very location during the critical seconds of the shooting. Unlike the famous Zapruder film, which focuses on the limousine from the right side, Nicks's camera looks across the plaza and includes the fence and embankment behind the Texas School Book Depository. This angle is significant because it allows viewers to watch what unfolded in a zone many believe concealed a second shooter. The grassy knoll was considered a possible origin of some of the shots by witnesses at the time, including Nicks himself, before he accepted the official explanation. His footage, though grainy and darker than others, keeps this area visible, making it a magnet for investigation. Analyzing this reel offers a rare chance to see if there was activity or anyone standing near the fence that might suggest a second shooter. The presence of the grassy knoll in the film keeps alive the question, where did the shots come from? At a visual level, not just theoretical speculation. This angle also highlights the interplay between spatial geography and eyewitness accounts on that day. Many who were present reported hearing or seeing movement near the knoll, but others dismissed those claims. The Nicks film serves as a visual piece of evidence in this puzzle, providing a frame-by-frame record of the scene that some argue supports alternative narratives. Whether it conclusively proves anything is still debated, but its existence fuels a conversation far beyond ordinary dispute. What Nicks captured isn't just the motorcade passing by, but subtle actions in the background, figures moving away quickly, moments of tension frozen in time. This includes glimpses of key players, like Jacqueline Kennedy climbing onto the back of the limousine and Secret Service agent Clint Hill rushing to protect the president. These snippets embedded in the footage provide context and urgency, showing how the scene erupted and unfolded from this unique vantage point. The contrast between Nicks's footage and other famous reels further magnifies its importance. Most assassination films concentrate on the limousine and the Texas School Book Depository building, but rarely does any show the grassy knoll so prominently. This difference fuels ongoing debates, because if there was a second shooter, it's logical that some evidence would appear in this often overlooked angle. Yet, despite its importance, the film's quality and lost original reel have prevented a definitive conclusion. Details in the grass or near the fence are difficult to discern, and missing or damaged frames deepen the challenge. This has left room for endless interpretation and disagreement about what can actually be seen on the knoll, sustaining mystery rather than resolving it. Nicks's camera also captured the aftermath, the chaotic moments as the crowd bursts into motion, running from the plaza in shock and confusion. This shift from stillness to frantic movement, with the grassy knoll lingering quietly in the background, reminds viewers that the film holds more than just the crime itself. It shows a community overwhelmed by trauma. Next, the path this film has traveled reveals why its fate became as contentious as what it might show. The film's troubled chain of custody. Orville Nicks delivered a copy of his film to federal authorities on December 1, 1963, a little over a week after the assassination. What followed was a complex journey marked by confusion, lost reels, and competing claims over ownership. Nicks reported that his film was lost during processing, an event that might seem mundane at first glance, but took on enormous weight given the film's significance. This early mishap set the stage for decades of controversy about which copies survived, how faithfully they represented the original, and whether any evidence was removed or altered. The FBI had warned local film labs to watch for any reels linked to the assassination. Yet somehow, Nicks' original was misplaced shortly after submission. When the film was eventually returned to him 3 days later, it was unclear if it was the exact same reel or a duplicate. Later, the original entered the media world as United Press International acquired its copyright for $5,000, turning it into a licensed asset circulated in news and documentary outlets. This further complicated efforts to track the genuine original reel over time. The process of creating multiple copies through enlargements extended over several years, which resulted in difficulties in identifying the authentic versions of the original footage. The Nicks film became a key asset for official investigations during the House Select Committee on Assassinations, which examined its footage for essential details about that day. The original 8mm reel disappeared between the two times that investigations occurred during the period up until 1990. UPI gave back to the Nicks family their copyright, along with all copies, in 1992, but the original copy remained missing. The family later transferred the film's copyright to the Dallas County Historical Foundation, which operates the 6th-floor museum at Dealey Plaza. The search for the original physical reel resulted in endless frustration because the item remained missing. The missing reel serves as the main evidence in a legal dispute that Nicks' descendants are pursuing because they claim the original item was taken from them without any payment. Their case carries substantial weight, suggesting potential government overreach and alleged mishandling that deepens the shadows over the film's history. The missing pieces of the mystery grow because Nicks himself doubts whether the copy he received back from its first submission remains authentic. He claimed that the frames between his original footage and the preserved copy were damaged because the original footage contained missing frames. Assassination research uses single frames as essential evidence because any technical damage in the material must be examined closely. The possibility that the original reel might be altered or lost creates a critical need to find the actual unmodified version of the original reel. The chain of custody questions demonstrate a fundamental problem, which asks whether a film can maintain its original authenticity after different people handle it, and digital copies of it become available. The Nicks film requires viewers to decide whether the current visual material shows the complete truth or presents only an incomplete portion of the actual story. The ongoing loss creates a permanent distrust that obscures the assassination story and generates doubts about either an intentional cover-up or improper handling of evidence. The commercial operation of the footage makes it more difficult for researchers and family members to conduct their work. United Press International acquired the footage, which they distributed throughout media outlets. This process changed the footage into a commercial product, which made it easier for people to access, but damaged its ability to be preserved. Each reproduction reduced the chances that people would find the original material because it made it simpler for people to discuss its contents without having access to the unaltered source material. The complex history shows how essential proofing material can vanish because of two factors, which include human mistakes, legal disputes, and organizational power. Nicks' film destiny creates fundamental doubts about how assassination records will be maintained and how much information should be shared with citizens. The film acts as a representation of ongoing disputes that decide what information will be revealed and what will remain secret, and who will control the ultimate story. Understanding these issues about the film's journey helps explain why the search for the original reel is about far more than a collector's item. It embodies the quest for truth in a case where every detail matters. This struggle leads naturally to the technical difficulties faced by those who hope to make sense of this elusive footage. The film's technical challenges. The Orville Nicks film presents a tough visual puzzle, complicated significantly by the choice of film stock and filming conditions. Nicks used Type A film, designed for indoor lighting, without the filters required for daylight shooting. This decision, or perhaps just the limitations of an amateur camera, results in darker images compared to other footage shot that afternoon. The shadows and low contrast create a murky picture, making it difficult to pick out distant objects or subtle movements, which is frustrating for anyone looking for clear evidence. Aside from lighting, the nature of 8mm film itself presents problems. This format was popular for home movies, but lacked the resolution and clarity of professional 16mm or higher-grade cameras. Every frame holds only so much detail, and when combined with poor lighting and possible damage, the image quality suffers further. The film's graininess blurs motion, and key moments can be obscured by shadows or flicker. These factors contribute to the ongoing debate about what is really visible in the footage. Complicating matters, Nicks noted in interviews that the film copy he received back after FBI processing was not identical to what he originally shot. Some frames were ruined or missing, and even the total frame count differed slightly. For assassination researchers, these issues carry enormous weight. Missing frames could hide critical evidence, while damaged frames might skew interpretation. Each lost moment is like a missing piece of the puzzle that could alter how the sequence is understood. The dark and damaged nature of the film also allows for widely varying interpretations. What one person sees as a shadow or a figure might be dismissed by another as a visual artifact or a trick of light. This uncertainty fuels the endless debate about whether the grassy knoll actually holds evidence of a second shooter or is just an unfortunate optical illusion. Without clearer footage, it's nearly impossible to reach a consensus, leaving the film embedded in controversy rather than clarity. Because of these challenges, technological advances have become vital to unlocking the film's secrets. Modern scanning, image enhancement, and digital restoration tools offer hope that even murky, damaged footage like Nicks could be cleaned up and analyzed in ways unimaginable decades ago. However, these techniques depend entirely on access to the original negative or highest quality copy, which remains missing. Without it, attempts to improve the image often only amplify flaws or create misleading impressions. Despite limitations, the Nicks film still offers more than many other visual records because it continuously holds the grassy knoll in frame. Its technical imperfections are frustrating, but the very existence of footage from that vantage point demands careful consideration. It illustrates the thin line between documentary evidence and the limits of historic media. This tension keeps amateur historians, forensic analysts, and the public invested in its fate. These challenges emphasize the enormity of the task before those seeking clarity. Even remarkable footage like Nicks is subject to the limits of its medium and the vulnerabilities of its history, coloring how the assassination will be understood for years to come. The film's journey through lost ownership and technical frailty leads naturally to questions about the man who filmed it and how his initial impressions compared to the official story. Eyewitness impressions versus official conclusions. On the day of the assassination, Orville Nicks held a view that conflicted with the final official narrative. He believed the shots came from behind a fence located between the Texas School Book Depository and the nearby railroad tracks, a location often linked to the grassy knoll theory. This impression aligned with what many witnesses thought at the time, reflecting the confusion and uncertainty that gripped Dealey Plaza in those chaotic moments. Nicks' film, which keeps that precise area in frame, adds weight to his initial suspicion and keeps the debate alive decades later. Nicks eventually received official confirmation about the single shooter who fired from the Texas School Book Depository because he declared his belief about the investigation findings. The public response showed how people think about events because they see things differently from what the government says. The official reports that he saw showed his difficulties in matching his actual observations with recognized standards. Historical events receive their shape through both evidence and the power of people to interpret and persuade others. Nicks presents a strong argument because he witnessed the event firsthand while he recorded it through his camera from nearby locations. He provided a detailed account of the situation because he demonstrated the shooting location through his filming, which created visual evidence to support his narrative. The original film reel's disappearance, with its low-quality content, has made evidence verification impossible, which has led to ongoing controversies. The JFK assassination case presents a fundamental problem that emerges from the conflict between eyewitness evidence and official assessment. The official account faces contradiction because trustworthy witnesses reported hearing gunfire from different locations according to their personal observations. The credibility of eyewitness testimony under pressure decreases when witnesses experience changes in their memory. Nicks' story illustrates these questions in a deeply personal way, showing how the search for truth can be complicated by human factors. The film's content raised questions, which increased the existing tension between people involved in the situation. Nicks stated that some frames were missing or damaged when he received the film back after FBI processing, raising concerns about whether the footage shown publicly was complete or altered. Researchers need each visual element to remain intact, because any missing component will lead to complete confusion during their research work. The uncertainty about evidence handling procedures creates doubts about the evidence's reliability among different parties. The Nicks case demonstrates how official documents and personal recollections create two distinct viewpoints, which confuse the public about which story to believe. The government agencies maintain certainty about the origin of the shots, while Nicks, films, and eyewitness testimonies create evidence of a more complicated situation, which remains unsolved. The two sides of the conflict create ongoing trust issues, while people continue to debate the assassination, which remains unproven after several decades. Nicks' journey shows how government explanations shape the way individuals think and how people share their thoughts with the public. The enduring uncertainty about the events from that day demonstrates how challenging it becomes to fit together all the elements from the traumatic event. As the Nicks family pushes for the recovery of the original reel, the question arises: could modern technology finally bring clarity to the long-standing debates, challenging both eyewitness accounts and the official narrative? The fight to recover the original reel. Decades after Orville Nicks filmed the iconic footage, his family, led by granddaughter Linda Gale Nicks Jackson, is locked in a legal battle to recover the original film reel. They argue the film is not just a historical relic, but a crucial piece of evidence that could help clarify the JFK assassination. The lawsuit gained traction in January 2026, when a federal judge allowed it to proceed, potentially uncovering who controlled the reel during its disappearance. Central to the family's argument is a Fifth Amendment claim, asserting the government seized the footage without compensation. This legal case also addresses broader issues of transparency and the government's role in preserving national history. The Nicks family hopes recovering the original reel will bring clarity to lingering mysteries, especially with modern technology that could enhance the footage. They argue that copies and reproductions can't replace the original, which would allow experts to apply advanced scanning, optics, and AI techniques that weren't available when the footage first circulated. The reel is seen not just as a collector's item, but as a scientific resource, with the potential to reveal details that have remained unseen. Even subtle clarifications could shift the conversation on the assassination. The family's pursuit is driven by frustration and the belief that vital evidence may have been deliberately obscured, embodying a quest for justice and truth. The legal fight highlights the tension between government secrecy and public access to historical records, with the potential to set new precedents for how vital materials are preserved and shared. As the case unfolds, the focus on the film reignites questions about the JFK assassination, emphasizing how one home movie has impacted decades of inquiry. The ongoing battle for the reel is not just about recovering footage, but reclaiming history itself, with the hope that technology may one day bring new clarity to long-held mysteries. As the legal battle rages on, the question remains: could modern technology finally unlock the secrets hidden in the original Orville Nicks film, offering fresh insights that have eluded researchers for decades? The promise of modern technology. The mystery of the Orville Nicks film has taken a new turn thanks to advancements in modern technology. For decades, the grainy footage has resisted clear interpretation, but recent breakthroughs in scanning, digital enhancement, and artificial intelligence offer fresh hope. High-resolution scanning and AI techniques could reveal previously invisible details, such as subtle movements or elements in the grassy knoll area that have eluded researchers for years. The key to these possibilities lies in accessing the original 8mm reel, which offers the best quality for enhancement. The family and their attorneys argue that the missing original film is the cleanest source, ideal for high-tech processes. Recovering it would allow experts to revisit the footage with unprecedented clarity. potentially shifting long-standing debates. AI technology improves film frames through noise reduction and shaky footage stabilization, while it reconstructs damaged frames to display a more complete image of the content. Experts intend to investigate the shooting sequence together with the area behind the fence and any potential figures that might appear, because this evidence will provide fresh insights to solve the film's mysterious elements. The shooter image requires perfect achievement, yet small improvements will help identify which shapes represent people and which ones represent shadows to establish or disprove the hypotheses. Technological progress has created an impact that reaches beyond academic institutions. The public maintains a strong interest in the JFK assassination because newly discovered information will either create new interest or provide final answers. The Nicks film demonstrates how technology enables people to discover fresh historical information through its restoration of past historical materials. The original film requires protection because people need to secure its availability to the public. The actual potential exists solely as a theoretical concept, because legal battles and archival work to protect primary sources hold critical importance. Critics of excessive interpretation warn that researchers need to conduct thorough peer reviews, while they should use contemporary technology in a responsible manner. The combination of historical footage with scientific progress creates an effective tool for advancement, which combines both amateur video and expert scientific knowledge from present-day professionals. The discovery and ongoing debate over the Orville Nicks film remind us how much a simple home movie can shape history. From its unique view of Dealey Plaza to the fight for its original reel, this footage challenges what we think we know and what we hope to find. As technology advances, so too does the possibility of uncovering new truths. If you found this journey into Nicks film intriguing, please like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into history's mysteries.